welcome to the Real 2 Cents. You didn't ask us for it, but we give it to you anyway. I'm your host, Lady J. Here on the Real 2 Cents, we discuss real topics with real people who give their real 2 cents. We're going to have some fun, be entertained, and hear what some have to say. So, today's topic, we're going to be talking about home remedies. Home remedies. When you think about that, you automatically think about Grandma told me that when the baby is sick, you got to rub them down with castor oil and all this other kind of stuff. You know, she's the first person that you go to when somebody's sick, or when you're trying to get a recipe, or your blood pressure is up, or your blood sugar is low, or whatever the case may be. But you have those that believe in using prescription medications over home remedies. So we all know that pharmacists and doctors are really big on this. But we know growing up that home remedies used to work, and they still do if you do it right. We have so many things that people use, Pinterest and all of that other stuff, okay? So I have a guest here today that is going to, quote unquote, give her real 2 cents and battle with me about the two. Okay? I happen to be a fan of home remedies, a big fan. Not such a big fan of prescription medication, but I take it. So there you go. But before we get into our topic of the day, I would like to leave you with a motivational nugget first. So today's motivational nugget is ego. Empowered greatness optimized. Empower yourself to optimize your greatness. You have the authority over your gifts and talents, okay? Utilize them. Enlarge your territory. Take advantage of it, okay? Ego, empowered greatness optimized. Hashtag I'm possible. That's your motivational nugget for the day. So, we are going to go ahead and bring out our guest. She happens to be a doctor. Actually, she's a pharmacist with a doctorate. Dr. Leslie Hodge. She is the owner of Scripts and Beyond, and she has a, let's say, a very different way, okay, of helping people get off their medication. She believes that you have to have a holistic approach in order for prescription meds to be effective in what it is that they're supposed to be doing in your life. So we're going to go ahead and begin our conversation of the day with Dr. Hodge. So, Dr. Hodge, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Absolutely. You call and answer.
So, before we get started, there is one person that I would like to highlight in a community.
Absolutely.
So, today's community spotlight goes to Miss Jen Ray of Indianapolis, Indiana. She is the author of Worshipers Make Better Lovers, the book. Oh my God, that book is everything, okay? She is also the host of God, Sex, and Everything in Between radio show on JHM Radio. She recently launched a conference for Worshipers Make Better Lovers, and her goal is to educate more people on the connection between God and sex. So we know that in the Christian community, a lot of pastors and believers don't like talking about that, but I mean, that's how we all got here. So,
Exactly.
So I would like to highlight her. She's doing amazing things in the community with this book, teaching people how to deal with being celibate, you know, for those who are struggling with that, how to have a more healthy sexual relationship in their marriage and things of that sort, and why being a worshiper is tied to that, and why they make better lovers. So I don't know, some of you all may disagree, but I agree.
True worship.
So that is today's community spotlight for the day. So let's get into our topic and hear Dr. Hodge's 2 cents on home remedies. So you want to start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been a pharmacist for 14 years, and I've been in the community setting. And I kept seeing people come in week after week, month after month, getting prescriptions filled. and not knowing what their prescriptions were treating or what they were supposed to do or what to expect. And so in 2015, I launched Scripts and Beyond. And the tagline is a pharmacist focused on you. Because the reality is, a lot of decisions are made for a patient and not with the patient. And so I thought it was important to create an option for patients, caregivers, their family to really come together, understand the medications, understand their role, and that's where the beyond comes in, because you can't just take medications and think, okay, I'm going to be, totally healed of this condition or this disease. You have a part to play in it as well. And so that's the beyond portion.
So when a lot of people are taking medication, some of them go into it thinking, this is a cure. When really medication is nothing but a treatment, correct?
Correct. And it depends on the condition. Let me say that. Depending on the condition, there are cases where, yes, it can be a cure. But a lot of times it is to help treat, along with, again, those lifestyle changes, that beyond portion, get things regulated. And so that way maybe a disease doesn't progress to something worse, or a condition doesn't become where it could have been 2 days, now it's 2 months. So taking treatments, prescription medications can help alleviate that.
Okay. So now, I hate to ask you this question because I already know what she's going to say. Okay, but Home Remedies. How do you feel about Home Remedies?
Love Home Remedies. Depending on the situation. I'll keep saying that, depending on the situation.
Okay.
Ideally, when things begin to change, and we have to learn our bodies. We have to know when things are not operating the way they should. And so when you have that tickle in your throat, that earache, that toothache, or maybe, my heart is starting to beat fast. That's not normal. What's going on? Be in tune with your body. And know that, is this something that I can do a home remedy for, or do I need to go to my physician? A lot of times, I will say that home remedies was a solution long ago when people didn't have access to doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners readily. The times have changed, We can go on almost any corner, any neighborhood, and hey, there's a clinic, right in, no appointment needed. Awesome. But that's not always been the case. So the reality is, home remedies played a huge role when there wasn't another option. So that's why you have people who say, you know what, let me just try this first. And if that doesn't work after a few days, not a few months, a few days, then it's time to go see a licensed healthcare professional.
Okay, so let's talk about, because we know now in society, health and wellness, everybody is on the health and wellness kick. People trying to lose weight, get their sexy back. People are, trying the ISO-T and Advocare and working long hours, drinking a Red Bull and a 5-hour, energy booster and things of that sort. So, me personally, having tried a couple of those things, how do you feel about people using energy drinks to boost energy, or what would your recommendation be for people that are trying to lose weight? And a lot of us want to lose weight quick. Women out here with these waist trainers, and a lot of these companies are selling that to people. You don't have to exercise. All you have to do is take this and you're going to lose the weight. I personally feel like everyone needs exercise. That's how you keep your heart going and everything else. And I feel like people should market that way.
Absolutely. So a couple of things that you said, as far as needing energy drinks, I always tend to ask people a couple of questions before I say, hey, yeah, you know what, that may be an option for you. We have to remember that what we eat, like our food intake, fuels our body. Okay? So it fuels it. So if we aren't fueling our body properly, think about gasoline to a car. If you use the wrong type of gas, yeah, your car may go, but it won't. Exactly, right? So it won't go the way it should and the way it was designed. And so we have to think about, what are we fueling our bodies with? And if we're fueling our bodies properly, then we're going to have the energy. We're going to have the positive mental capacity to focus. We're going to have that just that overall feeling good, you know, to able to go through the day and accomplish what you set out to accomplish. Right. If you aren't doing that, then that's when you're going to think, okay, I need something. And like you said, I want something quick, right? So that's where those little drinks come in. And so we have to think about too, yeah, we may feel good for a few hours, but if you ever speak to someone who uses those drinks, what happens? They crash. Yeah, right? True. So it's the cycle, okay? And I will tell you, when we do that to our bodies, we are putting actually more pressure, more responsibility on our organs to kind of overproduce, to kind of get our bodies regulated. So we're doing more harm than good. We may not notice it now, that short term, but long term. You know, we have to think about long term. People want to live quality lives, not just exist, but live. And so if we want to live quality lives, then we have to do quality things now. So I have to say this, I always shy against or shy away from saying, yeah, take that booster. You know what? No, let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at, are you getting the vitamins you need, the minerals you need? Are you getting enough sleep? Hello.
I know
Sleep and rest are so crucial. It's so crucial. It's so crucial to how we function. And again, going back to our alertness. If we aren't getting enough sleep and resting, not just lying in the bed, but sleeping and resting, then we're going to have those problems.
Okay, so about vitamins. Yes. And so our bodies need minerals, but you don't see those on the shelves.
You do. You gotta know what you're looking for, though. Because what happens is we typically see what's advertised as the 13 vitamins, right? So we think about A, B, C, D,
E, F, G, H, I, J.
We think about that, but there are some, and then a lot of times what I always like to recommend too, if you don't have I would say a relationship with a doctor or a nurse practitioner, you know what, get that lab work and see where your body, you know, is currently, the current state of your body. And so then that way you can see what supplements you do need. Because again, vitamins are not sold as a grab and go. Oh, I like this bottle, I like this packaging. Or as we like to talk about, my friend takes this, right? Or, you know, my aunt takes this and she does well, so I'm gonna take it. You may not need it. So, you know what? So make sure you are getting what your body needs so it can be fueled properly.
So, real quick, I want to do like a really quick, quick quiz and answer. Okay, so for those that go to the pharmacy or Walmart in the pharmacy area and just grab vitamins for the day, what should they look for?
Always look for, if you're grabbing a vitamin, always look for who made it. I'm a big manufacturer person as far as who made it, because you want to make sure you see the USP marking on that. That implies or is understood in our community that was produced in a safe environment, and manufactured, let me use the correct terminology, manufactured in a safe environment, and what is actually on the label is actually in the bottle. Okay? So you want to look for that USP marking.
Okay. So, when people go into the pharmacy or Walmart or wherever, and they're looking for the right cough medication or sinus medication, or maybe they had an allergic reaction, because we know that there are so many different types of meds for that. What should they look for? Because you have some that, this is for coughing and runny nose, this one is for cough, runny nose, and sneezing, this one's for cough, runny nose, and congestion. So how do they go about picking the right maybe brand and type?
Well, a couple of things. You want to make sure that hopefully a pharmacist is on duty, right? So you're going at a time when the stores are open and the actual pharmacy is open. And speak to the pharmacist on duty. If you're on medications, prescriptions, supplements, any type of herbal treatment you may be taking, have that list on you. So keep it in your phone, have it written down, and ask the pharmacist, what do you recommend? I have these symptoms that will not interact with these medications. That is so crucial, Lady J, because 10,000 people die every year from drug interactions. And that's ridiculous.
Just for choosing the wrong type of medication?
Choosing the wrong type, taking it at the wrong times, taking them certain ones together, at the wrong times. And so if they haven't been instructed or are not following instructions, you put yourself in more danger. And so to go back to what to pick, asking the pharmacist on duty to first acknowledge your symptoms and then find out which product will be best for you. Something that you take once a day, or if you have a schedule that is really rigorous, maybe once a day is best for you, because if it's something you have to take twice a day, you may forget. And then you know how we are. We will say, this isn't working. Well, you aren't taking it as you're supposed to. And so you have to have that counsel.
Okay. And last but not least, so cold. Call up grandma. Grandma, what should I do? Is that okay for people to use home remedy first?
What are the symptoms? Always start with the symptoms. And how long have you had the symptoms? Because again, going back to knowing your body, is it something you've experienced for a few days, a few hours, or is this the cough you've had for 2 weeks? Because it could be a side effect of one of your other medications. And so while you're trying to treat, or you call yourself treating, this symptom, you could actually be worsening the condition or experiencing a side effect unnecessarily.
So what about if it's children? So you usually calling grandma, my baby got a fever, she's having a fever all day, I can't get it to break, you know, or diarrhea and things of that sort.
Absolutely. So again, looking at how long it's been, if you don't have access to a doctor, use a over-the-counter remedy, speak to the pharmacist, call a nurse on call. There are a lot of people who have those services available. So I wouldn't say make that decision on your own, no.
Okay, so now we're gonna get some wisdom and some 2 cents from someone a little older and wiser than the both of us. Miss Ruby.
This is Miss Ruby. I come to you from the Cousin One and Friends Radio Broadcast Show. And today I'm bringing to you Miss Ruby's Nuggets of Wisdom. Today I'd like to talk to you all about, and this is for the ladies, how to be a lady. Number 1, how to be a lady. Make sure your breath is fresh. The most offensive thing to a man is to walk up to a woman and your breath smells like a bag of beer. Maybe keep a nut or bleach or something in your purse so that you can govern yourself accordingly for conversation. Point number 2 on how to be a lady. Real women wear stockings. It don't make no sense for you to come to church and your legs all bare and hairy. Girl, go home and shave them nasty legs. Shave them nasty legs. Use your husband clippers. Use something, nair it, wax it. Get something, you know them Indian people, they use them, the string. I don't know how they do it because it's so tiny, but they use the string. Go get your legs and your nails done while you're doing it, alright? And last but not least, keep your hair done. Keep your hair done. Ain't no excuse for a bad hair day. There's too many wigs, weaves, and clip-ons for you to run out the house and your hair looks like you got attacked by a bunch of killer bees. Keep your hair done. Again, this is Miss Ruby, and I'm bringing you Miss Ruby's Nuggets of Wisdom. And if God is in your life, He'll help you be a woman. God bless you.
Bye, Miss Ruby. So Miss Ruby is crazy. Okay.
Hashtag she has spoken.
Yeah, exactly. And that's her real 2 cents for the day, for the ladies. And not only that, though, she really did have some good points.
She did.
Listen, ladies, keep your heads good.
Yes, no excuses, right?
Even when you're not feeling good and you're doing your home remedies and taking your prescription, like she said, there's too many wigs and weaves and clip-ons. I mean, look, that's it.
That's the real 2 cents.
Exactly. I love her. She's a character.
Absolutely.
Now, disclaimer though, there may be some things said about Miss Ruby that you should not take literal. Okay, it's pure comedy.
Use it your own risk.
Right, exactly. Proceed with caution.
Absolutely.
So, we've been talking about home remedies, you know, in regards to health and wellness, and a lot of people don't like taking prescriptions, I being one of them, because sometimes you get to feeling like a guinea pig when a doctor can't get the prescription right and you changed it 3 or 4 times. Listen, you're the one with the degree. Like, so I think that it is better if we are included as patients in what we take. I know I ask a lot of questions about my meds, being that I've had some reactions to something that I just did not like. So I feel like that's something that everybody should do. So real quick, can you tell everyone how they can get in contact with you and where they can follow you, find you, and things of that sort?
You can always go on my website. It's scriptsandbeyond.com or drlesliehodge.com, and that's drlesliehodge.com. Or you can call Scripts and Beyond at 1-888-415-0656. Also follow on social media at Scripts and Beyond or at Dr. Hodge.
All right, so Dr. Hodge, thank you so much for coming in today and talking with me. She's gotten on me before about my blood pressure medication. So we don't always see eye to eye on these things.
All in love. All in love.
Yes. But thank you so much for coming on and talking to me and everybody else about what you do and how we can do better with prescriptions. Also, we would like to thank Miss Ruby for her 2 cents today. Ladies, remember what she said. Now today she had some good points, so make sure that you all take those literal, okay? You're gonna need them anyway if you're trying to find a husband. Just making sure your body is right, and your weight is good and you're healthy. You're gonna need a little bit more than that. So exactly. So thank you all for tuning in. This has been The Real 2 Cents. You didn't ask us for it, but we give it to you anyway. And I'm your host, Lady J. Next week on The Real 2 Cents.
Can, glean from you. But God is so awesome and incredible and big in his love for us. He wants you to be exactly what he purposed you to be.
Right.
So whether or not if that's a talk show host, whether or not if that's just being Nana, whatever it is, it's got to bring God glory.
That's right.
So when I know better, I do better. When you get to a mind frame that every moment of my life, every moment of the day, my purpose is to bring God glory. Whether or not if that's sweeping the floor or being a talk show host, whether or not if that's just being Nana, or whether or not if that's being the President of the United States, my job as a human being, whether before I give my life to Christ or after I give my life to Christ, he created us that we might bring him glory.
Right.
So when I know better and I do better, the only way that my better is ever going to be better is when I really get it through my head that my sole purpose on this earth is to bring God glory.
Right. And also, I want to add to that, we also have to understand that in order for us to even obtain, he will tell us and has promised us that we can experience the exceedingly and abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. But there are some requirements that we have to meet. There are some things that we have to do, because a lot of us feel like things are just start falling out of the sky.
Absolutely.
God just rub on the Bible and you ask God for something and bam, you got it, like he's a genie. So a lot of people use that scripture, if God be for us, who can be against us? But we forget that there are some requirements that we have to meet. That's what that if means, because God cannot be for us if we don't follow his instructions.
That's right.
We cannot obtain that exceedingly and abundantly unless we follow his instructions. And we also don't recognize, or we don't like to realize that we ourselves put ourselves in a lot of situations. It's not the enemy, and it's not somebody else's fault. We always want to try to throw blame. And so we want the exceedingly and abundantly. We don't want to do what we need to do in order to get it. And so I think that is the problem with a lot of us on why we cannot do better, because we don't want to hear what others have to say to us about us, even though we know it's in love, because we're always hollering judgment now. And really it's correction, and it's correction because you feel convicted. And when you feel convicted, it compels you then to change.
Right, but you got to understand that what you're describing
That's
is a
real.
relationship with Jesus Christ, not an association with church.
Right.
And what happens oftentimes, we fuel ourselves by going to church and having an emotional experience and do not pursue a relationship with Jesus Christ. So when we talk about following instructions and conditions, how do you do that when you don't even know them for yourself? And so we are in a post-millennial or post-Christendom type of society where everybody's doing whatever they want to do, and churches are going up on every block. Be mindful. The most important thing as a believer is not church. That's a vehicle. The most important thing as a believer is to pursue a relationship
That's right.
with the Savior. And when I pursue a relationship with Jesus, his love will make clear the conditions that I must adhere to in order to be fulfilled with the if God be for me, who can be against me?
Right. And we in the church, the body of Christ, we have to understand too that people need practical solutions
Absolutely.
to their problems, because we live in practical circumstances.
The church has spent more time evangelizing, which is a great thing, to save souls, but we've not discipled the souls that we've saved. So we've got a lot of dysfunctional disciples. And so then therefore that renders the body dysfunctional, if you will, or handicapped, because we're not fulfilling all that God would have us to fulfill.
Right. So this conversation is getting good. This is real two cents. Mama is the real deal. But we're gonna hear what someone a little older and wiser than the both of us has to say, what her 2 cents for the day is.
This is your favorite mother, Miss Ruby from the Cousin Warren and Friends show. I bring to you Miss Ruby's Nuggets of Wisdom. Today I want to talk about a subject that's really near and dear to my heart: what to wear to church. First and foremost, if you can't shout in it, baby, you don't need to wear it. Let me tell you something, if it's constricting and you can't get your legs to move, baby, don't put it on. Don't put it on. Take it off. You at the store. Shout it. Give it away. Just don't you wear it, baby. My second step.